arch trees, and everlasting dragons.
Well, that was
But
certainly
then
something.
there was fire. And with fire came disparity. Heat and cold, life and death, and of course, light and dark. Then from the dark they came and found the souls of lords within the flame.
Jeez.
Nito, the first of the dead. The Witch of Izalith and her daughters of Chaos. Gwyn, the Lord of Sunlight, and his faithful knights. And the furtive pygmy, so easily forgotten. With the strength of lords, they challenged the dragons. Gwyn's mighty bolts hewed apart their stone skins. The witches weaved great firestorms. Nito unleashed a miasma of death and disease. And Seath, the Scaleless, betrayed his own, and the dragons were no more. Thus began the Age of Fire. But soon the flames will fade, and only dark will remain. Even now, there are only embers. And man sees not light, but only endless nights. And amongst the living are seen carriers of the accursed dark side.
Again, I'll have to adjust the audio, so I'll just have to bear with this for at least this cutscene. Little rat buddy gone by. Oh, what the heck? I started playing this again recently, and I didn't know about that is actually new for me. But this is Dark Souls Remastest. Dungeon cell key. Well, first off, let me go ahead and boost the audio so we can actually hear stuff. Boost up to 6, it should be fine. Because of Inferno, we actually have this item right away. Be summoned to another world as Phantom through your sign and defeat the area boss to acquire humanity. Hollows cannot conduct summons. In Lordran, the flow of time is distorted and the white soapstone allows undead to assist one another. So I imagine that's what that item is supposed to be off of. And then we have the straight sword hilt, which I have to actually show this off. But I guess Master Chief drops his key down. A mysterious knight, without saying a word, shoved the corpse down into the cell. An honest person was his key. Who was this knight, and what was his purpose? There may be no answers, but one must still forge ahead. Honestly, for how many times I've started playing this game, I've never really taken note of the stray. I think that's the stray asylum demon there. I've just been on a Dark Souls itch. This guy is... Don't be in the pool, bud. We can also go ahead and actually take off this straight sword hilt, because it's only marginally better than our fists, and we might as well just try and save the weight. Yeah, weighs 0.9 units. We're already fast rolling with our armor. InferonoPlus, part of what he did for this mod was he remixed all of the armors so that some armors are actually lighter, but they still have some poise. Now you can actually see, I think this armor altogether wouldn't have that much poise. But it means that some armors, some of the really heavy armors are now really, really, really heavy. But he did do a change to the backstabs, so now you have to do the sort of kick before you can actually pull them off. And I haven't tried it, but you can fight that guy just mano a mano. And if you do so, you actually get a weapon. I don't know how that weapon's changed because of this mod, but I can rest up at the bonfire. Get your shield. Oh, that's right. And if we're skilled enough, we actually don't need the shield, because we can just go straight forward and go for our sword. Which we get a classic longsword. And even just putting on the longsword puts us heavy enough to where we're mid-rolling. There we go. Without the gloves. See that guy there. Although we're not going to be getting him for a good little bit now. You go out into this little vista and read this message about rolling, and you can look up to the left and see that there's a treasure there that we actually can't get right now. These stairs are destroyed, and I don't think... Yeah, we're not going to be able to jump up that. But another reason why to go back here, particularly because of Remastest, and people can actually get this from the thumbnail, is there's a reason why I wanted to start with the pendant. Even so, pleasant memories are crucial to survival in arduous journeys. Pleasant memories. Like the days of Halo 3. An odd contraption of an unknown origin. Firearms are effectively a new class of weapon thanks to Inferno. And this is kind of what I was talking about when I don't think I could have listed exactly how many people were responsible for this project, but however they did it, and it turned out amazing. Go ahead and open this gate. The bell trap gets everyone, but we can also see how the plasma pistol works, and it's actually quite powerful. It's actually kind of interesting that this is the first weapon you get in the game, and you can get it before you leave the asylum. A lot of weapons aren't going to be like that, unfortunately. You do kind of got to go out of your way for them.
Oh, you're no hollow. Thank goodness. I'm done for, I'm afraid. I'll die soon, then lose my sanity. I wish to ask something of you. You and I were both undead. Hear me out, will you?
Yes.
Regrettably, I have failed in my mission, but perhaps you can keep the torch lit. There is an old saying in my family: thou who art undead art chosen, and thine exodus from the undead asylum maketh pilgrimage to the land of ancient lords. When thou ringeth the bell of awakening, the fate of the undead upshot you. Well, now you know, and I can die with hope in my heart. Oh, one more thing. Here, take this. An Estus flask, an undead favorite. Oh, and this. Now I must bid farewell. I would hate to harm you after death. So go now, and thank you.
Still really interesting that he knows he's hollowing. He knows he's done for, so is that just a common thing that undead know about, or?
Now I would hate and thank you.
But he gave us the Estus flask. The undead treasure these dull green flasks. Oh. These dull green flasks. Fill with Estus at bonfire fills HP. The Estus flasks are linked to the Firekeepers, and the Dark Tales also make reference. An emerald flask from the Firekeeper's soul. She lives to protect the flame and dies to protect it further. And this is just for multiplayer. I think I'm in single player, so I don't think I can be invaded. And he gave us the second floor key. Key to the iron bars on the east side of the second floor of the Undead Asylum. The Undead Asylum is a giant undead prison segmented by countless iron bars. Even if an undead were to escape from a cell, passage to the outside world would not be gained easily. As soon as we leave. Sure enough. And I don't know why. I wonder why we get 100 souls when he dies. I wonder if that's just to imply that you could kill him. Resting a bonfire revives enemies. That is true. Doing the forward right trigger throws the grenades, and as you've seen, it does a lot of damage. It does 300 something damage. 2 damage on initial, 340 after it explodes. And just like normal, we're not going to be able to go through this door. And this was supposed to be a tutorial on backstabs and ripostes. And this is actually a pretty fair hint right here of what you can do. I think, yes, it does work. a big pilgrim's key. Key to the inner door of the undead asylum. Main hall, big key belonging to a chosen undead pilgrim. But this chosen undead knows not what this pilgrimage has in store. And admittedly as well, I was watching, I've been binge watching Epic Namebro, his, I guess, final playthrough on YouTube of Dark Souls. Good job, go straight ahead. And he makes a particular note here of this key. It gets us out of the undead asylum. It gets us out of the undead asylum, but we're not allowed to go anywhere except on pilgrimage. I don't know if there are any treasures around here to find. I don't think I've ever tried, but you have Snuggly the Crow over here immediately. Give me soft, give me warm. We don't have anything for him. I think in the base game we originally had the choice of starting with rubbish as well, which you could trade for a large Titanite shard, but I elected not to do that. Because we need to start with a pendant.
Only in the ancient legends it is stated that one day an undead shall be chosen. To leave the undead asylum in pilgrimage to the land of the ancient lords. Lordran.
This cutscene is a little screwed up, but for how this mod is, I personally think it's fine. And this will be our home for a while. In Lordran, level up and kindle at bonfires. I'm playing single player, so I don't think I can be invaded, but you saw that I'm still getting player images going up and around. I think this game's largely community run at this point. FromSoft shut down the servers to Prepare to Die edition some years ago. I think I've got that, yeah. So now we have little souls to lose. We have some more humanity.
Well, what do we have here? You must be a new arrival. Let me guess. Fate of the undead, right? Well, not nothing. But there's no salvation here. You'd have done better to rot in the undead asylum. But too late now. Well, since you're here, let me help you out. There are, actually, 2 bells of awakening. One's up above in the undead church. The other is far, far below, in the ruins at the base of Blight Town. Ring them both, and something happens. Brilliant, right? Not much to go on. But I have a feeling that won't stop you. So, off you go. It is why you came, isn't it? To this accursed land, the undead.
I do need to boost voice a bit more, just so that we can actually hear him.
Ah, your face. You're practically hollow. But who knows? Going hollow could solve quite a bit. What? Restoring your humanity? Well, there are a few ways to go about it. Collect it bit by bit from corpses. Or you can butter up a cleric and get yourself summoned. And the quickest way, although I never do it, is to kill a healthy undead and pillage its humanity. pity. Coveting thy neighbor is only human, after all.
Butter up a cleric and get summoned, or collect it bit by bit from corpses. Or, since he would never do it, pillage it from our fellow undead.
What are you looking at? Don't try anything clever. You might regret it.
Again, Epic Name Bro. He said this. It's fascinating that he said that you could pillage it from other undead, or butter up a cleric and get yourself summoned. And although he'd never do it, pillage it from other undead, and then just turns around immediately and says that. It's like, it's a little funny. It's like, whoa, hey now. Hey now, let's calm down a minute.
What? You want to hear more? Oh, that's all we need. Another inquisitive soul. Well, listen carefully then. One of the bells is up above in the undead church, but the lift is broken. You have to climb the stairs up the ruins and access the undead burg through the waterway. The other bell is back down below the undead burg, within the plague-infested Blight Town. But I'd die again before I step foot in that cesspool.
I die again. I know this is, well, just my line thinking. I wonder if that is one way you figure out you've become undead, is if you've died and come back. Otherwise, the only other way of knowing that is the manifestation of the dark sign here. The dark sign signifies an accursed undead. Those branded with it are reborn after death, but will one day lose their mind and go hollow. Death triggers the dark sign, which returns its bearer to the last bonfire rested at, but at the cost of all humanity and souls.
Bloody hell, what is it now? You ask too many questions.
And he's done talking to us. There is another firearm that we can find here, and with a bit of trickery, we can actually get to it. But honestly, I might try and do that the way it was intended. Something else Inferno did, which was, I think, his main goal, was he has the ability to access Battle Stoicism at any time. Through the Herculean feat of dissecting the game's code and just mapping out everything he wanted to do and then coding it. He had a lot of help from, namely, the two that are coming to mind is Meow Meredith, who did a lot of the back-end stuff, and then Drop Off was the main inspiration behind making this mod. Drop Off being possibly, I think, the only other person to have successfully modded in something that is a texture mod. I think he ported in a map. But over here are more bonfires. These actually get you to different maps that Inferno has put into this map. I think there's like 13 total now, including, let's see, Death Island, which in his own words says this basically requires 16 players to play. I think also, in case this is something that needs a little bit of thinking, all of these are Halo maps. That probably should be a thing, considering the plasma pistol here. We probably will use the plasma pistol now that I think about it, just because I want to show this off. And we did get some humanity. This black sprite is called humanity, but little is known about its true nature. If the soul is the source of all life, then what distinguishes the humanity we hold within ourselves? Relatively powerful ranged weapon, especially in situations calling for fire damage. A very precious item at low levels. Many warriors use these to augment their strategic repertoire. Soul of a Lost Undead. Souls are the source of all life, and whether undead or even hollow, one continues to seek them. Typically with any start to a Souls game, you would want to go down here, depending on your build. If you want to have a high damage weapon very early as a melee build, the Zweihander is down here along with, I think, the Winged Spear. But these guys would be very tough to kill normally. I did say normally. With the Plasma Pistol, we can actually kind of circumvent this. This is probably the worst that these weapons actually cheese this game with. Being able to kill these guys this early is a little busted. And we got a scimitar out of it. Yeah, we'll go ahead and equip a longsword just to show. Along with our shield set, we can just parry them. But we can go down here, get this large soul of an undead, and we can just see how much damage the sword does to him. We got 11 damage on one swing, and 63 damage on a riposte. Not to mention for how much damage these guys do, it wouldn't necessarily be worth it, so... But I think the bigger signifier of how these break the game is this big fella right here. And I might need clarification on this, or just more experimentation. Those grenades, the plasma grenades, I swear they just kill everything they hit. It's a little ridiculous. Although, of course, you need to actually have good aim in order to use this thing. And probably not rely on lock-on too much with it. But you saw with this plasma pistol, I was able to clear out this graveyard where this would normally be a dead sprint for these items. And probably getting out here to this one would more or less be where that sprint ends, as either you try and make your way back, the skeletons come up and shove you off the cliff, or probably in some other situations you would just jump off the cliff just to get back to the bonfire faster. We can pick up... No, we didn't. I think it's around here somewhere. This is probably not it. Trusty turncoats. Trusty turncoats being Inferno's, basically being Inferno's version of Trouble in Terrorist Town. Or for people who are probably more likely to know about it among us.
Hello there. I believe we are not acquainted. I am Petrus of Thoroland. Have you business with us? If not, I prefer to keep a distance, if possible. Hello there. I realize that I have requested that we retain our distance, but I also want you to know that it is not meant in ill will. Here, take this as a token of peace. No, go ahead. It's for you.
Very interesting item from Petrus here.
Oh my, you again. Oh, I know. How about this? I have to await my companions here anyway. So what if I were to teach you some miracles? Would that please you?
Yes, please.
Very well. Then first, a covenant with the gods.
Yes, we don't have any covenant right now, so joining this one really isn't a big deal.
Now let me share my miracles. Only their ultimate effectiveness will be determined by your efforts and your faith.
So we learned Shrug from him. And he has a lot of miracles that we'll probably want to try and make use of if we can. We can actually use Heal right away, so we'll actually go by that. Sacred Oath here is actually really interesting, and that 35 faith requirement is for good reason. A miracle said to have been devised by warriors who once served under Gwyn. Provides a temporary boost to the attack and defense of its caster and nearby allies.
Come again. The effect...
So that's kind of an interesting spell miracle right there. Is just using that because you can buff... If you're summoning a lot, you can buff the entire party, basically. The soul of an undead. Although, we can look down there and see there's a chest there. Well, how do I get to it? Whee! A morning star and a talisman. Hey, that morning star looks familiar. Some homeward bones. A cracked red eye orb. So, homeward bones, a cracked red eye orb, a morning star, and a talisman. This is pretty indicative of a cleric stash, which, after getting this item, only reinforces that. Talisman utilized by Allfather Lloyd's cleric knights to hunt down the undead, block Estus recovery within a limited area. In the outside world, the undead are cursed creatures, and Lloyd's cleric knights are widely praised for their undead hunts. This blessed talisman blocks undead recovery, allowing the knights to fight with impunity. Also, certainly hell of an item to fight against PvP, I'll say that much. Still appreciate that you can absolutely still just toss this crap around. Go play soccer with a skull. But anyway. Rest up here. This bonfire is already kindled at least once. We don't have attunement slots, so we won't be able to use heal just yet. This bonfire is already kindled once, so we have 10 Estus flasks now. Geometry needs a little help at areas, I think. This weapon is so freaking busted. But I'll probably go ahead and stop actually using it, since it would just trivialize everything. Let's go back to the longsword. Just fight like normal for a bit. Soul of an Undead, and freaking risky jump every freaking time. And a Ring of Sacrifice. That's my 3D printer being done. I'll probably give it 15 minutes before I go and actually pull that off and go start the next print. You kind of saw me do it back with Crestfallen Bro, but another thing InferonoPlus did was in Dark Souls Prepared Edition, and I think even in Remastest, you would normally have the left trigger and the left bumper both do this block. But he decided to bring in something from Dark Souls 2, which is a super parry. So this is what I was talking about with a little bit of trickery. We can actually get a second gun right away. And that's with the squirrel ring. A unique ring once belonged to a long-forgotten knight. Allows the wearer to leap great distances. Clearly a novelty and nothing more. Only a fool would wear this into battle. And, like said, we can get that second firearm with a little bit of trickery. Because you get that sort of janky super jump. And I'm trying to figure out where we could possibly do that. So I want to say it's over here. But granted, that jump might be a little precise. Maybe it's not there. Maybe I'm fooling myself. I'll at least show it, but I'm not going to get that weapon until we're at the appropriate point to be able to get it. Also interesting to know that you can walk freely through this water and it won't encumber you like we saw back in the Undead Asylum. I wonder if that was just... if coding that, especially for later, would be a friggin' nightmare, or if that was just a gameplay consideration. Because if that water slowed you down while you're being chased by those skeletons, hoo boy. Well, someone on the guide for finding those weapons said it's possible, and I believe them. But like I said, I'm not going to get it. We'll be able to get it later. Soon enough, anyway. I've got to actually go ahead and take it off, because it can be kind of detrimental at some points. Actually, it's bad of me to do, but you can look at our item discovery and see that we have just a flat 100. I'll show it again in a second, but using a humanity actually boosts it by 50, and it's worth it for this little fella because, well, he did drop it for me, but rats can drop humanity, and they're actually... There's, I think, 2 major variants of rats that drop humanity, and then there's an enemy in the DLC that drops humanity like freaking candy. Oh, jeez. The super parries are definitely a little more interesting because... I think the timing is a little bit different. Personally, at times, sometimes don't even bother with the parry and just go for the kill. This is actually another point where you can actually use the squirrel ring to jump up. Because there is an item on that second floor. But I'm not going to go for it right now. Soul of a Lost Undead. Go ahead and heal up. I think Inferno also lowered how much Estus Flasks heal in this mod. That's cool. I have my 3D printing platform as an app on my phone as well, so it actually need hope. Yeah, kind of. It actually gives me a timestamp for when the print finished. That's actually pretty good to know. I realize it's the day after Halloween, but I've already started doing my Christmas presents this year. I'm 3D printing all of them this year. Just having a royal time. Got some rubbish. Rubbish with no value. Who in their right mind would bother carrying this around? Perhaps you need help. Praise the sun. 420, praise it. So imagine I'm going to get asked this, but can't quite read that. I'm probably going to get asked this. Where's more Silk Song? And I just need to do something. It's a little. It breaks the tedium a little bit. More or less, the main reason is because I've just been on a Dark Souls itch. It's been a while since I've played this game, and more so, it's been a while since I played this game legitimately. I did beat this game legitimately, but I've used several plugins, several programs to just cheat the game. And so I just want to make sure I still have... Try jumping. That might be fair, actually. Yeah, she can't stand there. That's just interesting to know, although they probably don't plan for you to do that. I don't think you can make that jump. But no, I made sure that you just want to play this just to prove that, yeah, I can still play this game. There goes the chicken. Go and just pull that guy so that we don't have to fight him with the crossbow there. Hollow Knight armor. Armor worn by hollow warriors. It is made of thick leather and is tattered with age. Though interesting to note that it weighs more than our armor, but it has slightly better physical defense. And light. No, actually, it does have better lightning defense. It has 2 more points of physical defense, which is actually kind of interesting. Oh, actually, I should do a little bit of healing, but probably still get the face pull that guy. I should double check. No, I don't think. No, we don't have the ability to even just two-hand that thing. It's probably just not even worth it. Go ahead and do some guard breaks. Actually, that reminds me. No. A long-hilted spear with a barbed point long range and can be used with shield up. Effective against hard exteriors and hits for high damage, but the right amount of an enemy swing... At the right amount of an enemy's swing, the hit radius is small, and it is easily blocked by shields. Just saying, hey, this thing is going to hit like a truck, but also it's not going to be that effective. It's not going to be very effective at breaking guards. No axe still. We can talk to this good fella right here.
Well now, you seem to have your wits about you, hmm? Then you are a welcome customer. I trade for souls. Everything's for sale.
I do like this guy. He can give us the orange guidance soapstone, which we're gonna go ahead and actually buy from him. The residence key, which we are definitely buying from him. And the repair box in the bottomless box you have to buy from this guy for, I think, for no good reason. He sells a lot of weapons, including the most powerful of them, the stick. Bruh, it's a stick. Bick, yeah, I got a stick. But he also sells a lot of arrows. I'm pretty sure I skimmed past it, but he also does have a short bow for sale. And the chain armor.
Things are getting treacherous in these parts. A horrible goat demon has moved in below. And up above, there's that humongous drake and a bull demon too. If you stick around this place, it might end up being your grave. Here, I'm not here to chit-chat. We talk business, or we talk nothing at all. Thank you kindly.
Probably for the next part, I'm probably going to want a shield. The shield weighs 2.5, the helmet weighs 2.6, so... Gain 0.1. We have less protection, but now I can actually block. Not to mention the parry windows, I think on the shield is a little better. Go ahead and drink some Sunny D. Make our way up here. Here, some throwing knives. Try jumping. I do remember Epic Name Bro talking about wanting to go to that specific ledge, and he thought for sure that there would be a way to get to it somehow, but just everything the game had happened, there wasn't really a way to get there, so just kind of the unfortunate nature of it all. Go up to this ledge. There's a light crossbow. Which, the crossbow was ridiculously given a blessing, because crossbows in Dark Souls are pretty much almost useless. Because of the base fact that you couldn't aim them like bows. Well, Inferno the Mad Lad, he did the change. And this is compatible with the ammunition, although it won't do anything, and vice versa for guns. If you have ammunition, it just won't do anything. So I walked past this door, which we didn't need a key for, but we could just go in here all we want and find a wooden shield. Oh, I just realized I don't think I picked up the Caduceus shield. I'll probably grab that when we're actually ready to go down into the catacombs. Actually, hang on. I should take care of these guys. Nothing. Got some black fire bombs. Powerful ranged weapon, especially in situations. Black fire bombs are especially destructive. I love going up to this area in a particular way. Don't worry, guys. I got this shit. Sorcery? Truly, the mark of real sorcery. A door. See ya. It took me a hot minute to realize where the item was. And actually, that's a pretty strong item that I'm going to want to grab despite the circumstances of where it is. But that's actually fascinating that I think about it is you're harassed by those guys throwing the bombs at you, and you get up here to take care of them. You find this item, and then as you're going down, you just look down and see that there's an item there and think, oh my gosh, what is that? I want to get that item. Then as you're running back, you can actually see the archer in that tower, and you're thinking, how the heck do I get to that guy? And because of how the camera is situated, you don't really see it. You just go forward and start fighting those guys. But you just climb up here and just take care of business. You get some hollow soldier armor out of it. Son of a gun. This armor is actually a little bit better than ours because of the fire resist, but it weighs significantly more. Old armor worn by hollow soldiers. It may be old and battered, but its iron construction makes it quite sturdy. Got him. I got Spear Bro coming up. Bro's ready to throw down. He went ready to throw down. Praise the sun. Praise it indeed. Praise it indeed for the gold pine resin. Affected weapons. Rare pine resin which emits golden sparks. Applies lightning to right hand weapon. Affected weapon inflicts rare lightning damage, making it effective against targets which are resilient to both magic and fire. Very effective against dragon family foes. This early in the game, it's effective on everything. Alright. Do as I say, not as I do. This item, if you're just playing vanilla game, honestly, probably not worth it for how much trouble this is, but I mean, my problem is I don't want to kill this guy. Don't want to kill him, so what I'm doing is I'm just grabbing that ring and just hoofing it. Because thankfully Dude Bro can't... thankfully the Black Knight can't function doors. But this ring... You can actually see it's already at work because of how low my health is. When HP is below half. The rare gem called Tearstone has the uncanny ability to sense imminent death. The blue Tearstone from Katarina boosts the defense of its wearer when in danger. So yeah, our defense is actually raised quite heavily. So you can see we're at 63. I don't know if... No, it's not. It's not going to tell me how much defense we have now that the ring is active. But it is a significant amount. Yeah, that guy... I'm just often not to try and kill him at all. Not to say they couldn't. Not to say that you couldn't. And this Hollow gets it bad every time because he just killed himself with that flaming barrel. Be wary of tough enemy, which is fair, but we can't actually get there. If we had the master key, we would be able to go down there, but it wasn't a starting gift. I think it's a starting gift for the Thief class now that I think about it. Get some twinkling Titanite along with large Titanite shards. I'm most likely not going to kill this guy at this moment. I do want to grind out a bit of souls and level up as best as I can. Because I think what I want to try and do is I want to try and have at least be able to two-hand this Zweihander before we get there. Of course, if I killed this guy, I would have a chance at a really good weapon that I could legitimately one-shot Taurus Demon with. But I'm not risking it. Those guys, the Black Knights, they only spawn once. And once you kill them, they're dead. And they have a chance to drop their weapons as well as their armor. Or their they have a chance to drop their weapons. They don't have a chance to drop their armor. Their armor is obtained at the end of the game, basically. But the shield is very rare to drop. Their weapons are, honestly, for how much of a rare drop it is, it's actually kind of worth it to try and save those for later. Actually gonna go ahead and do some power leveling. I'm probably gonna kill this fire too, now that I think about it. And also, I think it caps out at 10, but you can see that the first Humanity gave me 50 item discovery. That one gave me 8, so it really peters out very quickly. If I was smart, I'd say these are framed later. That's a ways off, and I can use souls right now. Strength. Is a hefty weapon, but we can actually use it now. Has a lot of range in it. Can take a lot of stamina to use. But it could do a lot of damage. Go ahead and raise that shield and try to block this. I forgot I was going to kindle that fire. But yeah, you can kind of see how differently this area plays out with an ultra greatsword rather than using a longsword. Actually, I wonder, does the stick have a special L2?
I'm sorry.
That's interesting. Yeah, this sword's ridiculous, and we're buffing it with gold pine resin as well, so this thing is going to absolutely destroy Taurus Demon. On top of the fact that we actually have the super parry with this. Technically, we could destroy Taurus Demon anyway because of the plasma pistol. But again, I'm gonna opt to not use that unless I really am struggling. I thought for sure one of you guys was gonna jump at me, but I guess not. The hilarious part is that this weapon is only getting some scaling because we don't quite meet the stat requirements to be able to use it one-handed. But even then, it's doing a lot of damage very quickly. Heal up. Be wary of shortcut. I guess that's fair because you could use a squirrel ring to actually jump over this. Actually, I didn't think about that. The squirrel ring, actually, because of that janky super jump, you could actually break a lot of this game. So, like, you could really break this and circumvent ever having to fight the Taurus Demon. Plank off the wall. Get back down those stairs. Doing. Goodbye. Alright, I'm probably not going to level up too much more because legitimately if I get to the point where I can one-hand this thing, then Taurus Demon will literally be nothing. But we are going to reverse hollowing. Hey, MHL. 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 Oh, we just barely can't level twice. Probably level twice just to get an attunement slot. just barely can't. Jeez. Mr. Human. I don't know what's showing that neither. YouTube is weird. Oh, but I need to attune magic because we can actually use heal now. Question of the day is, can I have a talisman equipped at the same time? Talismans are very light. No. Interesting. Okay, well, we probably won't need heal for where we're going anyway. I've been working on my game a lot. I got a server set up and I have someone working on art with me. Oh, that's good. That's good. Go ahead and bait this fella to come over here. Smash. So I think I'm gonna try and work on the first soul ability, Soul Grasp. Basically the Weaver binding from Silksong. Dude went for an attack at the same time I did. Oh, you're still working on Silksong, that's right. Although, sorry, remind me what you're working on. It's been a while. Like, I've been wanting to stream, but I've also been... Honestly, I'm a little on the tedium end of Silksong. So I'm more or less doing this to try and break the tedium. Stab. Actually, I can climb that ladder and go up, deal with that that way. You're making a Hollow Knight fan game. Okay. Stab. Well, more like slash. What the heck is slash? I've been playing Silksong and I'm 36 hours in. I haven't been playing much Silksong in my off time. Mostly because I just... Honestly, I haven't been in the mood. Like, it's become a little bit of tedium to play Silksong. I will get back to it eventually. But it's just, right now, I just need something to kind of break the tedium. Thankfully, Dark Souls does that for me. Actually, I do want to show. There's that backstab change that Inferno talked about, where instead of just walking around an enemy and just attacking, you actually have to kick them and have that kick land. I know that was a big thing Inferno wanted to change, was the backstabs in this game completely disincentivize pretty much any build. Which, honestly, fair. I did my entire Mount Fae in around 31 hours. Either 30 or... oh, probably 30 minutes or 1 hour. And most of my friend took a lot longer, so maybe Celeste helped me. Let's go ahead and go level and put a point of endurance in. Because I think that 1 point might boost me up above where I can have Talisman equipped. 30 minutes to 1 hour, yeah. Okay. I was thinking, like, are you saying 30, 31 hours? Because holy crap. 1 point of endurance. Jeez, how heavy is this friggin' talisman? My Act 2 Lace, she's very difficult. I believe it. Short sword. Smash. Whoa. I did not know you could actually do that. Like, I know in Bloodborne you can aim your weapons by angling the camera up or down, but I can actually rappel off of the floor. I did not know that. Yeah, you heard those fire bombs. $220. Jeez, I went for a jump attack on that one. There we go. Nah, fetch it. Let's just go for it. If I die, I die, so... I suppose as well, if you wanted to, you could kill these guys by entering this room every time, but I don't think it'd be worth it. You're gonna die, clown. That is the thing about gold pine resin and getting it this early in the game, is that you just absolutely destroy everything. I mean, you saw if I got a good combo going on him, I could just absolutely kill him. Granted, the sword uses so much stamina. I think that's largely just because of the reason that I can't actually use the sword one-handed. I imagine if I could one-hand it, I wouldn't use nearly as much stamina. Hey, door! Oh, it's locked. Okay. What's over here? A very pretty vista. Try a ranged battle. Because they're talking about big guy down there.
Ah, hello. You don't look hollow, far from it. I am Soler of Astora, an adherent of the Lord of Sunlight. Now that I am undead, I have come to this great land, the birthplace of Lord Wind, to seek my very own son. Do you find that strange? Well, you should. No need to hide your reaction. I get that look all the time.
Praise, son.
Oh, aha. So I didn't scare you. I have a proposition, if you have a moment.
Sure.
The way I see it, our fates appear to be intertwined. In a land brimming with hollows, could that really be mere chance? So what do you say? Why not help one another on this lonely journey?
Yes.
This pleases me greatly. Well then, take this. We are amidst strange beings in a strange land. The flow of time itself is convoluted, with heroes centuries old phasing in and out. The very fabric wavers, and relations shift and obscure. There's no telling how much longer your world and mine will remain in contact. But use this to summon one another as spirits, cross the gaps between the worlds, and engage in jolly cooperation. Of course, we are not the only ones engaged in this, but I am a warrior of the sun. Spot my summon signature easily by its brilliant aura. If you miss it, you must be blind. Oh, hello there. I will stay behind to gaze at the sun. The sun is a wondrous body, like a magnificent father. If only I could be so grossly incandescent.
I think about it, I wonder something about his helmets. That might just be true to the normal way those helmets were made. I wondered for a second, because he said he's gazing at the sun, if he literally has very tiny slits in his helmets, so he could actually look at the sun without going blind. Although, who knows? If the sun kills him, what's the risk gonna happen? He's gonna appear back at a bonfire? But Solaire of Astoria, who would normally give us... Well, first of all, let me de-equip the binocs. He would normally give us the white soapstone. Because of this game, we get the blue soapstone so that we can... Something that InferonoPlus did for this game is that he moved the fog gates around as well as opened up areas so that you can co-op or PvP in any area regardless if the boss is dead or not. But he also moved the fog gates around so you can go from Firelink Shrine if you wanted to and co-op up to the Undead Parish without needing to banish or resummon someone. Huh, why is this ground black? Hellkite! Yes, this is a modded game. So Dark Souls, I'm specifically playing Prepare to Die Edition. A YouTuber by the name of InferonoPlus, I have his channel linked in the description. Normally I wouldn't have this weapon. And if you've played any Xbox game, one in particular, you already know. You can actually use this to cut his tail. I did not think about that. But Inferno, he did a lot of work with this game in making everything more viable, remixing the armor so that some of them are actually heavier or lighter than they normally would be. But I think even right now in base game, I would not have this much poise with only wearing 2 pieces of armor. Not to mention, I think the param, the required stats to be able to use this Zweihander, I think were 32, not 24. Inferno, along with everyone else he's worked with, did a lot of work in this mod to make everything work, and honestly, it just deserves some sort of like medal or some sort of reward of recognition. He breathed fire on me. Okay. Breathe fire, dang it! Jeez. I'm probably gonna go ahead and swap back to the longsword, if only just because I don't need to deal a ludicrous amount of damage right now. Weakness, tail, ranged battle. That is very fair, actually. And this would be a way to get around Hellkite, although you can see those rats in there. Rats are a bit more dangerous to fight in melee than one would think. Mostly because they have poison buildup on them. So it's like you get poisoned and then weakness full. You get poisoned and then just slowly go through your Estus like very quickly. So I personally don't think it's that worth it. Go ahead and just raise dexterity a good bit because I'm gonna need to make use of a bow. Ow. Gonna need the souls for a bow first. Just for my curiosity, how much is a bow? How much is a bow, my good man?
Never.
1,000 souls for one bow. And then we don't have nearly enough money for enough arrows.
Oh, come back.
So sorry, let me check Discord real quick. Jeez. One Discord in particular is having the pings go wild. That's the thing I need to go through, and I need to take a minute to fix some things. Because I realized I have the wrong link in my stream messages. Got the big woo yesterday. Got the big woo yesterday. Probably. Just save time, I'm gonna do this. Frickin' say nope and just punch the dude out. Actually, I wonder, can I kill that archer from up here? What is the big awoo? Damn it. The frickin' thing, I think Inferno did this on purpose, where enemies that are meant to ambush you, you can't directly just kill them. The big flea. Oh. If possible, still, please avoid Silksong spoilers. I really want to play that. I really want to continue playing that game myself. Although that is still funny, just the big woo. So used to having the repair box. How far along are you? I'm still at the final judge. Jeez, the way you hold this plasma pistol is certainly something to behold. Pounce. Yeah, no, I'm not super far into Silksong. Alright, now I'm just gonna go punch this crossbowman out, because frickin' deserves it. Oh gosh, I got that grenade on his head. Get wrecked. Yeah, no, you're all good. Did I broke this through the wall. That's the thing I love about these games, about Dark Souls in particular, is that it's a mess of, I think, like, bad, janky netcode and PvP, to use InferonoPlus' own words. But there are just some things that it's just funny. Oh! Twofer! Got him! Bunk.
Oh, still keeping your mark? Then go ahead. Don't be a nitwit. Never hurts to splurge when you...
Never hurts to splurge when your days are numbered. Very true, very true. We're largely just going to be getting standard arrows. And if I should just spend all the souls.
Thank you, kind.
You're going to need a lot of these. The Hollow Knight map system is very, very complicated. I have no idea how to replicate it, so I have a much simpler solution. I mean, it's not complicated, it just takes a bit of getting used to. I'll just map, you get the map in 3 sections instead of a compass, and there are map stations that say you are here. I can actually fast roll like this. Sweet. Something very cool about Dark Souls here is I'm not trying to kill the Hellkite Drake here. If I wanted to, I probably could do it right now. By complicated, I mean like unlocking it for every area / room with multiple stages, and the rooms do not scale perfectly, so they had to make a lot of small changes for it. Oh, I can zoom? Oh, that's cool. They had to make a lot of small changes for it, and I don't know how to do that. That might just be the nature of how Silksong is made. Silksong is very much a Metroidvania. So the reason why the map isn't fully revealed immediately is because you have to discover those yourself. And that's kind of the reason why pretty much any Metroidvania people like exploring, is they like having those moments of discovery. There it is. This freaking sword. And it is hefty. This sword, one of the rare dragon weapons, is formed by a drake's tail. Drakes are seen as undeveloped imitators of the dragons, but in they are likely their distant kin. The sword is imbued with mystical power to be released when held with both hands. A weapon from cutting a dragon's tail. Just not quite there yet. There is plenty of tricks that you can do. Like, even just going back and looking at Hollow Knight, you can actually see that there are some areas, even in my streams when I was playing it, there are some areas in the game that I got to later because I didn't realize there was a way to get to them earlier than I had done. Like the King's Pass, I didn't get there until I'd finally gotten the tramway key, basically. Which you don't get that until the Deep Nest, which is a while into the game. Oh, jeez. So that's one way, but there is a way into the King's Pass through the drowning, through the City of Tears. Alright, Hellkite, jump on down. So normally one way of cutting this tail is you just buff your weapon with gold pine resin and just try and go for it when he jumps down. But as you can see, there's no tail to cut there. Obviously, he can't attack you, so he flies off until you reload the game. But that's... him flying off like that is more or less the reason why I didn't just run over here and just try and cut the tail this way. Because that would just make it too easy. Especially for how strong this weapon is. 201, 159, 159. This sword deals a lot of damage just out the box, but you'll notice that it doesn't have any scaling. So it deals about as much damage as this Zweihander for being way lighter. But eventually this Zweihander and even this longsword will eventually catch up to the Drake sword, so it's a really powerful early game weapon. That's why should we get to the bonfire here. Bonk. Solomon named the soldier. And the claymore. The claymore. Which we can actually use. The larger type of greatsword is normally wielded with two hands due to its weight. This highly flexible greatsword can be used to attack in swings or thrusts. And it's about as heavy as the Drake sword, actually. So we can actually use it in fast roll still. Claymore also just factually looks good. Actually, this is one of my 3D prints that I was working on. It failed because the glue just isn't sticking. I don't know why. I remember Epic Name Bro talking about, I mean, those videos are gone now, but he talked about how he had one of the first videos on the internet showing how to get the sword, as well as how strong the sword actually is. This statue is also down in Firelink's Shrine, and I think a commonly held theory about this is that it's probably Gwyn's mother, holding baby Gwyn, and I don't know what proof there is to either say that that is the case or what proof to contradict that. I have no idea either way. Now we can actually go up here. Try humanity. Actually, that's a fair point, because now that we have this gate open, we can go as we please, so I can actually show this part off. And this part might actually kill me unless I want to resort to using the special attack of the sword. You have a nearly flawless system, and yeah, I can't do that. Well, looking back on that message, don't count yourself out too much there. I mean, like, this mod I'm playing, this was, I think, the second mod for Dark Souls, technically, that InferonoPlus did. And even the first one wasn't exceedingly high polished. So don't count yourself out too much there. Oh. A rat gave us humanity. How about that? I used the special two-handed R2 attack from the sword, which does a lot of damage, as you can see, but you can see that it also took a good chunk of durability. It took 30 durability to use that one attack. So with these weapons, it's kind of, the durability kind of becomes a resource that you gotta manage. But up here, we can actually find Try Humanity. So technically, what you could have done was go through that sewer, which again are rats which have poison buildup. And if you get through them, then you're out here. You're either potentially poisoned or you're very, at least, wounded. This gate is normally closed, so this isn't a way to get in here to Hellkite. Unless you can run through Hellkite's legs and work this lever, which I actually can't work anymore, so I can't close this gate again. And then you go up here and you see that waiting for you. That Fang Boar. Along with a lot of undead soldiers, but we're going to be dealing with this encounter in a very particular way. Which we're not going to be running straight ahead, we're going to be running around this Fang Boar. Just ignoring all these guys because we need to go over here. Because that soldier will pull that lever and close this gate. Basement key. Longsword along with Titanite shard. But yeah, now we're actually in a position where we can open this gate again, but we're basically opening Pandora's box with not just those guys, but the archers and that Fang Boar still alive, so it's best to leave it for now. We got the basement key. opens the narrow passage leading below at the far face of the Great Bridge in the Undead Burg. The lower Undead Burg is a treacherous place. Do not turn your back on the wily thieves or the wild dogs who serve the Capper Demon. So we can actually go to the lower Burg now, but we're going to hold off for now. A weapon that a lot of people really like is the halberd. Long-hilted weapon mixing spear and axe is difficult to handle, requiring both strength and dexterity. The halberd has 2 elementary attacks, spear-like thrusting and large sweeping swings. However, one false swing and the wielder is left wide open. Which is actually a really good point, because this has the potential to be a very fast weapon if you can connect, but you can see that every time I attack, because I'm not hitting something, I stagger. And there's that swing attack, which again I stagger, because this is one of the weapons in the game that requires you to hit something, which is why it's kind of, it can be a fast weapon, but it's also potentially a slow weapon. And Balder Knights, which you can parry with your bare hand. And you saw how much damage that riposte did. 396 on this guy. $426 on this guy. So I don't know if this was really intended or is really the case, but this guy was using a rapier. This guy's using... These guys were using the Balder side sword. And I don't know why, but their armor and I guess health actually varies a little bit on that. Gonna go ahead and walk up a little bit on this guy. Stab! Spear. I've actually been kind of looking for this one because this weapon actually got a little bit of a special weapon art, quote unquote, to it. See that treasure there, and a common thing for, I mentioned Dark Souls Remastered as well as for Prepare to Die, definitely, was this wall. There's a message that can read, "Try illusory wall," and so you hit this and you plink off and you think, oh, this isn't an illusory wall, so what the heck is going on? And then you think nothing of it as you go forward up here and you start fighting that guy. I guess that Balder Knight must have had his hearing range tuned because he's still there. This guy would come running because he heard the sound of you hitting that wall and proceed to come running, and he's actually a special type of variant of knight that actually can backstab you. So you go here fighting the spear hollow. As the knight is running up, he's already caught sight of you and he proceeds to backstab you. But now we're actually in a very fortunate position right here. I'm going to be showing the other way to get up here, but this fog gate, if you got here this way, I don't think you'd be able to go through this side. Yeah, that fang boar caught sight of me. But, very interestingly enough, is an alluring skull, which you can actually make use of here. I wanted to try and get the punch attack done on him, but I guess wasn't in the cards. Fangbore Helm. That's actually a rare drop from these guys. A lot of people... I know a lot of players for this game. This helm right here would be a big reset point. Severed head of the fully armored Fangbore, taken by the one who killed it as proof of his victory, just as the gods once did with the head of the ancient dragon, can be worn on the head as a surprisingly sound piece of protective gear. And very sound. You can actually see the stats. It has absurd physical defense. It pales in comparison to the magic, fire, and lightning defenses, but this Fangbores were not something to take lightly, for sure, in Dark Souls. I guess the spear guy went walking after me. Or maybe that was him up here. But no. How this area would normally play out, because we already killed that knight would just be here and always run back to hit that lever. And if he did that, well, we would have to go about this way. To get through to the other side of that gate. And sure enough, in Dark Souls, when an enemy run away, it's not because he's scared of you. It's because he's got friends. Mystery key. Which, let me go ahead and actually clear out the last of these guys here. Actually surprised I didn't get any of their swords. The purpose of this key is unknown. It appears to be a basic prison cell key. There's actually one more treasure here that we can get. And then one more treasure that we can get. Need item. Very fair, very fair. We do need an item right here. Pendant. For further memories of nostalgia. Same description, an odd contraption of unknown origin, but the ammunition is a little bit of... How do I want to word this? The ammunition is not just for the plasma pistol, it's also for the SMG. Pretty much ammunition for every gun in this mod will use ammunition. So you don't need to worry about going and getting rockets, going and getting carbine shots, going and getting brute shots. You just have the ammunition equipped along with that gun, and then you're good to go to town. See if there was anything in these barrels, was there? Try attacking. Which, I don't think that they're... But this is that fog gate I pointed out earlier, above where the archers were. So now we're actually on this other side. And this is how you would normally go through the level. You'd find this guy lamenting over... I didn't point this out, but this is actually another Baldur Knight. And this guy was just looking at the corpse, so you can kind of look at it as a brother lamenting a brother, a soldier lamenting a soldier, something to that effect. And his buddy was actually holding this knight shield. This medium shield is elegantly carved and painted. Although it is thought to have been used by ancient knights of the nobility, its defense capabilities are similar to other shields. Which is actually not a bad point, despite it weighing double the weight of the heater shield. But you can see that the heater shield is a far lighter shield. Doesn't have nearly as much protection, but it has a lot more durability and weighs significantly less. Down. Shortcut ahead. Very fair hint right there. Shortcut is indeed very far ahead. Then this guy, very interesting enemy, a Knight of Berenique. Who's also incredibly easy. Guaranteed Titanite Shard, but he can drop the tower shield he was using. He could drop pieces of his armor. He could drop a great sword. But this guy won't respawn here. This is the only time he'll spawn here. Along with actually another enemy that I'm not going to provoke as best I can, but that channeler up there. And he is quite problematic because of the base fact of that. He casts magics, so we're not gonna tangle with that guy at the moment. Knight shield. Armor. Okay. Head? Indeed, head. Bonfire ahead. Need humanity. Blacksmith ahead. I can't take this. I did it! Saint ahead. Because of the podium here. Hope. Which we are actually going to use another humanity to kindle this fire. And we can level up at least twice. Keep raising dexterity. Dexterity does nothing for this particular sword, but it will help me with another weapon I want to use later. Over here is a very interesting place.
Oh, forgive me. I was absorbed in thought. I am Siegmeyer of Katarina. Quite honestly, I've run flat up against a wall, or a gate, I should say. The thing just won't budge, no matter how long I wait. And oh, have I waited. So here I sit, in quite a pickle, weighing my options, so to speak. Still closed. Still closed. Still closed. Still closed.
Can't quite open that gate. Can't quite see what's inside. Kind of. This place will have more relevance later, but for now it's just a gate that we can walk up to. Detour. Indeed, a very fair message. Go ahead and kindle this fire. So we can actually have 10 Estus. And we can talk to this big guy here. Need humanity, eminent charmer. And this guy is actually incredibly special for a number of reasons. First of which we're about to see.
Well, you must be a new arrival. I'm Andre of Astora. If you require smithing, then speak to me.
First of all, he's special for the reason of he actually has animations, and that plays into the fact that he was going to have a much larger role in the game's story originally. But now he is just our basic blacksmith. Very good blacksmith at that. Come on, hit me! But he sells Titanite shards. He's a limitless source of them. He sells Crest Victorious, and for better pricing, he sells the repair box along with the armor and weaponsmith boxes. He sells a variety of weapons, which I will definitely be picking these up sometime soon. And he's a purveyor of arrows, which actually we have new types of arrows here because of the mod. We have the volley arrow, 3 red feather arrows of the Lord's Hunters, fired simultaneously in a horizontal fan, triple arrow, fired simultaneously in a tight vertical grouping, blunt bolt. These bolts may not deal much damage, but a well-timed shot can easily knock an attacker senseless, only effective against humans. That last line, I think it largely just means effective against players, because I've tried using this on the Hollow Soldiers back up there, and it didn't work. Splintering bolt. The shrapnel these bolts unleash is far from lethal, but a face full of splinters is not desirable. And I think Inferno actually talked about how these bolts are actually quite overpowered. But we don't have much in the way of souls to do anything right now other than reinforce. We can finally reinforce a weapon after all this time. Can do straight sword hilt, can do this Zweihander, although that takes a lot of souls. Frankly, I'm probably just going to reinforce the longsword with the Titanite I have. And interestingly enough, we can't reinforce the plasma pistol or the SMG because those need Demon Titanite, a very particular resource. So these are basically, they're very strong early in the game, but they will peter out soon. And this guy can't ascend weapons because he doesn't have any embers. We can also reinforce armor, which is kind of worthwhile to do so. Interestingly enough, the Fangbore helm is a twinkling Titanite armor, but we're gonna reinforce the hard leather armor for now.
Most weapons and armor are mighty sturdy indeed, but every hunk of metal has its breaking point. If you notice durability running low, it's time to repair. You can ask a blacksmith like myself, or do it on your own with a grindstone. The nice thing about weapons, they never betray you, so pay them a little respect, eh?
Honestly, Dark Souls and Bloodborne shouldn't have as much of an effect on, like, my personal opinions or thinking. But between Dark Souls 1 and Bloodborne, I've definitely put a lot more thought into a lot of things. And I'll talk about them a little bit more a little later.
There are 2 types of weapon forging. There's reinforcement and there's ascension. Reinforcement is simple. It strengthens the weapon and nothing more. A simple task for any blacksmith. Hell, you could even do it yourself with a smith box. But ascension's a finer art. It alters a weapon's properties. Ascension is the territory of we blacksmiths. A smith box just won't do the trick. Start out with reinforcement. When that loses its charm, you can consider ascension. As you've noticed, This land is flush with the mad and wicked. You won't make it through the night without employing my services. You can forge armor just like you do weapons. Forging armor is even easier than forging weapons. Whether you forge weapons or armor first, well, that's up to you. But nobody wants to see you go hollow. So whatever you do, you'd better do it well. So, don't get your neither.
I talked about it a little bit just now of Dark Souls 1 and Bloodborne shouldn't have as much of an effect on my personal thinking as it does. But playing Bloodborne's Old Hunters DLC, along with Andre's line there, the nice thing about weapons is they'll never betray you. And then Bloodborne having, I think it's the Old Hunter Molotov, or the Old Hunter, I think, Delayed Molotov, where they describe it as an elegant contraption that must be destroyed for you to do damage with that item. It really just kind of puts to mind, like, all, like, talking a modern sense here, it really puts to mind, like, all the different weapons that we have in today's military that have just these finely honed, like, mechanisms inside that get destroyed every time that weapon is used, which is knee jumping. Frick off. It's just kind of a different perspective on those of, like, is such a incredible sort of it's something you shouldn't think about, but you have to think about how amazing those little contraptions must be that they get destroyed every time you want to use them. I guess that contributed, like, also playing Final Fantasy XIV so much with the idea of I don't want to use this unless I absolutely have to. And then you get to the point where you get to the end of the game and you... he went for the parry! That's evil. Well, we're back to beef jerky. I look over at my internet browser with my stream open and I see the moments. I should have gone for the headbutt. Well. I'm gonna be farming this area, which I don't know if you can still get soft humanity. I kinda hope you can. I know it doesn't happen every time, but you can farm humanity from technically anything as long as an area boss is still alive. But I don't know if Inferno has removed that. These guys are your farmable source of Titanite shards, along with these soldiers, so it's actually not a bad area to farm Titanite shards if you really need them. Granted, there are better ways of getting Titanite later. Lower that shield. Oh, well, it's fine. This is Dark Souls. This game will very much remind you at any point. It will remind you. This is frickin' Dark Souls. What the front door do you want? This game, I think I said before, the servers are no longer active, but this game is run by the community. Effectively. This is the Prepare to Die edition. Which, Prepare to Die edition, you can't get anymore. It's one of those lost things, unfortunately. And that's actually how InferonoPlus used to have this mod for a while, is it was largely just people who have Prepared to Die Edition could play on it. But after a lot more work, Remastest is actually also available on Dark Souls Remastered. Which I'm definitely all for, because the dude put in so much hard work that the handful of people who have Prepared to Die Edition shouldn't be the only ones who get to play the game. Who get to play the mod, I should say. Freaking no poise is still no poise. Yeah, little poise, I should say. I wouldn't be bothering with these guys, but if I can, I want to try and get soft humanity, and there's thankfully a ton of enemies in the Undead Parish, so the chances are actually pretty decent. I should also say with Dark Souls, it is very much the game of you better not care about dying, because you are going to die a lot. Somehow, some way, you will die to something. And either it's your own fault, it's something else's fault, and you can actually see the treasure up there, along with that undead. That's very interesting. But you dying will either be your fault, it will be some stupid enemy, or it will just be something stupid that happens. A tie night from these guys. And we're going to try and go further into the chapel, because I do want to try and kill that channeler. That sounds a lot like Hollow Knight. Hollow Knight is kind of the same way. In fact, I think Hollow Knight actually came after Dark Souls. It's just, with Dark Souls, there's that unfortunate thing of... Eminent Caster. It's that unfortunate thing with... Gosh, I lost my train of thought. I really lost my train of thought. Oh, he's buffing everyone. This is actually a fantastic place for... This was actually a fantastic place to show off the Dragon Sword attack, although you can see that the sword is now missing a third of its durability. That's why I wanted to show for the longest time, is these guys can actually drop that broken straight sword, which is only marginally better than the straight sword hilt. Half the blade of the straight sword is broken off. Only the completely hollowed would even consider using this as a weapon. And these guys, they are effectively hollowed. They are very hollowed. But that channeler is dead, and unfortunately he didn't drop his trident. He can drop the trident, but we didn't get that lucky. The trident you can farm later, but it's been storming where I live for a while. And it's not raining right now, but it's very windy. Yeah, we're heading that time of year where the weather is going to be very much not conducive to a lot of people, and We got the boulder leggings. That's excellent. They are significantly heavier than hard leather boots, but they also protect significantly more. Leggings worn by the knights of the ancient kingdom of Baldur. They are made from thick iron plates. Baldur was the homeland of Night King Rendel, but it came to ruin after a great many undead were spawned. For Hollow Knight to Dark Souls, I imagine Hollow Knight got a lot of its, Dark Souls probably didn't influence Hollow Knight much at all. It's just the thing where Dark Souls came first and people were like, oh god, this game is so hard, and then Hollow Knight came and it's like people were saying like, oh dude, this game is like Dark Souls, it's freaking hard. And I think what's hard for one person won't be so hard for another person, I should say. Difficulty is subjective, much like the question of what is the best weapon in the game. And the answer to that is that it's the best weapon to the game is the weapon you like using most. So like what weapons movesets vibe with you the most.
Oh, still human, are you? Then I am in luck. Could you help me? As you can see, I am stuck without recourse.
This guy.
Please, I have duties to fulfill, and I will reward you handsomely. Well, I am certain you stand to benefit. Please, well... Thank you. Yes, sincerely. I am Knight Lautrec of Karim. I truly appreciate this, and I guarantee a reward. Only later.
Kicking?
Yes, very sorry. Your reward will have to wait. I've just been freed. Allow me some time.
This guy is very loved by the community, I will say that much. And honestly, I remember having a friend on Steam a while ago. Well, a friend in air quotes. I think they've long since removed me, or they're just not around anymore. But they had played Undertale before playing Dark Souls, and then they told me they were going to play Dark Souls. And their idea was just they were going to go through and kill every NPC they came across. Because to them, what NPC is better than those NPCs in Undertale? And I think that's just the very wrong way of thinking. Because, at least I'm Counterpoint, I want to follow every NPC's quest in any game, not just Dark Souls. And Knight Lautrec is definitely one of the more divisive NPCs because of what he does, and we'll find out later. We'll see more of that later. But this elevator is in fact a very special elevator, because we went through the Undead Burg, we went across the Great Bridge to the Undead Parish, and now we've come full circle. And your buddies still aren't here, are they?
I will teach you mirror.
And we can actually buy more of his miracles. There's only really this one right here that I'm planning on trying to make use of.
My companions are Milady and her young knights. She is young, but burdened by an undead mission. We are her defenses, to keep her from harm. An undead mission? Regrettably, I cannot share that with you. But you are my pupil. Perhaps if you show your faith.
If you show your faith, as in give me 2,000 souls, sure.
Very well. I can surely tell you, of all people, undead clerics are given a mission to seek kindling, Kindling is the art of feeding bonfires with humanity. Through kindling, we shall one day be granted magnificent powers. Very well. Unkindling, through kindling, we shall come again. The effectiveness of...
Through kindling, we will surely be granted marvelous powers. That is honestly a very interesting line right there. Hey, bro.
Don't you ever think to forge your weapons? You'd better find a smith box soon, unless you enjoy swinging about with blunt instruments. How did that silly sorcerer's apprentice end up? You know, the one always prattling on about Master Logan. He left for the undead burg, but never came back. Serves him right. If even old Big Hat can't make it out there, what chance does he have? I hope he enjoys his new life as a hollow. I'm not up.
I'm gonna go ahead and rest this bonfire because we're gonna do something stupid. Gonna go down the mid-rolling for this because something funny in FromSoft's games about when they use elevators, sometimes they like making something funny. Yeah, so went down to mid-rolling just because it's honestly better sometimes for getting across that. But you can see a corpse right there. And we're actually going to go ahead and do a jump and get this key right here, which actually is quite important for where it leads you. Same description as the East Keep with West Keep, but even if a hero found a key in Lord's Run to liberate this prison, would he have the means or the heart to ever come back? Well, for now, we definitely have the heart to do so. But do we have the means, is the question. The means are actually far closer than we think. And I don't think we're going to get this cutscene, but after enough time curled up like a ball, actually fascinating as well that reads the Northern Undead Asylum. I think even second floor of the North Undead Asylum, so they say North Undead Asylum. Does that imply that there are other Undead Asylums? One doesn't know. We're not quite going to finish out this entire area today. We're definitely going to get one thing and then leave immediately. And I actually want to avoid that part of the floor right there. I don't think he triggers until we go into that room. Oh, jeez. I forgot the ball trap resets. You can actually get the bow off of those guys sometimes. Whoa. I've never seen one of those guys before. Actually, I have seen one of those guys, but I'm gonna want more protection. This armor's probably as best as I'm gonna get. So we're gonna go down the fat roll in here, but this little thing is definitely worth killing. Dang it. Alright, unfortunately we didn't kill it, but that was a vagrant. Sometimes when... Yeah, we still have a bit of durability. Sometimes items that are left behind can rarely, very, very rarely... Yeah, we got Oscar running after us, I think. So in Dark Souls, what can happen is when an item is left behind online for too long, eventually it will just turn into a creature, and theoretically those creatures can be worth something once you kill them. Either the item that was left behind, or even like other crafting materials, or what have you. Here goes the crow. Let me actually go ahead and look this up, because Dark Souls Vagrant. Vagrants are monsters which spawn in response to bloodstains being lost or items being dropped or abandoned. When the player dies and leaves behind a bloodstain with considerable humanity, 5 or more, and fails to collect it before dying again, or the player leaves certain items and reloads the area without picking them up, there's a good chance these will travel to another player's world and become a vagrant. Vagrants appear in 2 different forms, namely good and evil. The good form of the vagrant looks like an egg with crab legs and will flee and vanish upon being discovered, whereas evil form has a claw and a ranged attack. And attacks the player on sight. The ranged attack will cause very high damage and can knock through shields very easily. Good vagrants could drop items useful to the player if killed before they escape. Evil vagrants will drop valuable humanity or twin humanity. But the good variant can drop charcoal pine, dung pies, green titanite shards, large souls of undead, large titanite shards, 2 prism stones, purple moss clumps, repair powder, soul of a nameless soldier, or transient curse. Whereas the good variant red can actually drop a ton. Just holy crap, they can drop a lot, and they don't pop up very often if you want to kill them. Me going through my discords. didn't mean to do that, but the sword's probably broken at this point. 53. And now for my final trick, we can go down here. And again, have a sense of nostalgia. And big nostalgia right there. That's the Magnum. That is the frickin' Magnum. And ouch. Alright, well that's fine. We can just go rest the fire. And I definitely need to go talk to Andre because this sword needs repairing. This sword is hurting. She's very hurt. And we can actually talk to Andre as well and actually buy the repair box off him, which is what I really mainly want from him. And the sword still has a decent bit of durability, so we can still use it for fighting a little bit. I think Inferno actually lowered as well how much durability that special attack uses. Interesting. This weapon's at risk, so now it's actually just barely not killing everything in one hit anymore. So this weapon's durability very much depends on how much damage it does. I don't know what happens if we completely break it. It looks the same, but the damage is now, because of how broken it is, it's actually dealing half its normal damage. All good. All good if you need to go for a bit. No, stay right there and watch me perpetually. No. Andre, I need help.
Well, hello. You need it.
And this sword is expensive to repair because it's completely broken. But that likely means that we can't buy the smith box unless we delve into the souls, so might as well. I want to get all those smith boxes eventually anyway, so this Firekeeper soul we can use to get 5 humanity, but that's far less worth it than what we can actually do with it, which will be most helpful.
Well, need it.
First off, I want to buy this repair box off of you. Second off, I think I'll actually buy... I'm just gonna buy this broadsword off of you.
Go get your...
The broadsword actually has a very interesting moveset, which I'll actually show off with the longsword. The longsword has these sweeping attacks. Its heavy attack, one-handed, is that thrust, and then a sweeping combo when two-handed. Get these downward swings, these overhead swings. There's the broadsword. It's that same similar moveset, except that sweeping attack on one-handing and two-handing. And it actually, out the box, deals more damage than normal longsword with slightly worse strength scaling, but scales better with dexterity. This wide blade of the wide blade of the straight sword emphasizes slicing and has no thrust attack. The horizontal sweeping motion makes this weapon effective against multiple enemies. Widely used standard straight sword, only matched in ubiquity by the short sword. The inaccessible sword which inflicts consistent regular damage with very high slash damage, making it applicable to a variety of situations. Only matched by the longsword. But now we have the but more importantly, we have the ability to repair whenever we want now. We can actually use heal with the flying dragon sword here, as ENB calls it. And I forgot I didn't rest at the bonfire. Yeah, well, it's fine. Actually, this is a good moment to show this off. That's one trick you can do to use to make Dark Souls a little easier, is get just enough faith to use heal. And you have a lot more chance at healing, and I think heal actually heals more than the Estus right now. And I'll show you exactly what we can do with the Firekeeper Soul once we go back down the Firelink. If there's ever a place to try and get soft humanity, it's right there, because of all those hollows. Honestly, I might just try and do that. I wonder if that's a... I'm just wondering about the white text up in the top left-hand corner. I don't know why that's there. Do you just kind of wish I could just turn it off? If you're so inclined, you could just run and jump, and you can actually just die by falling into this well. If you were so inclined, but I'm not going to show that. Well, here's Bro.
Ah, hello there. I have your reward. Please, accept it.
This guy giving us the biggest red flag ever.
I am grateful to you for freeing me. Not enough for you? Well, let's not be greedy now. By the Lords, your face. Your humanity is really slipping, but there are methods. Most fools have more humanity than they know what to do with. Now, who do you imagine will make the best use of it? You again. What is it? Our futures are murky. Let's not be too friendly now.
So for his story, we're not going to, but this is the part where you would want to just kick him off the cliff and reload and get your ring of favor. But we're not doing that. No response. She cannot speak. Reinforce Estus Flask. And that's what the Firekeeper souls can do besides just being used to get humanity. But we're gonna take a moment and actually look at the Firekeeper soul. Each Firekeeper is a corporeal manifestation of her bonfire, and a draw for the humanity which is offered to her. Her soul is gnawed by infinite humanity, and can boost the power of precious Estus Flasks. It can be used to gain humanity and restore HP at the cost of losing the Firekeeper's soul to reinforce the Estus Flasks, which is much more worth it than it sounds. Essentially, reinforcing the Estus Flask means that you will heal more HP every use of it. And while I'm here, I might as well go down here. I don't think I'm going to go very far into New Londo, but I can go down here and meet another NPC, as well as I'm gonna try it, but I'm gonna try and go for another Firekeeper soul, which worth noting that you can just go down here as soon as you enter the game. But you are more or less intended to find this soul and run the other direction, because we've seen this gives us 800 souls from the one thing, so you can come down here and grab it and just leave, because of how difficult this area actually will be. But like I said, we can actually meet another NPC right here.
Well, this is unusual. You haven't lost your head. And more importantly, you're free. How on earth? Well, I shouldn't pry. I'm Rickett of Vinheim. I was once an established smith. Look at me now. Can you believe it? What is it? Have you? Oh no. Don't worry. I've no intention of escaping. It's safe here. Can't bear the thought of going hollow out there. Although, I must admit, I've not much to occupy myself. How about this? I could forge your weapons, albeit with rather minimal tools. I'll show you what made me the best in Vinheim.
So we got the mention of Vinheim, along with meeting him. He's Rickert, the Mage Smith of Vinheim, and being a Mage Smith does not mean you don't still carry magic. Soul Ray inflicts light magic damage, but are difficult to avoid. Best used against agile foes. A more powerful but also slower sorcery, difficult to use due to a long cooldown and a limitation of the number of castings. He can tell us a catalyst to use that spell with, although we don't meet the intelligence requirement. And this is actually another part of this mod, is the cut armor that he sells here. This Mage Smith armor, he also sells, I think this is Dark Souls 2 armor right here. Depending on the armor, I might actually try and get souls to buy these, but these are hefty prices. Yeah, Rain's armor I might try and go for. And these, the descriptions on these armors are much more relevant to Dark Souls 2, so I'm not going to read these, but for Fashion Souls, you know, the true end game, this could be some good looking armor, honestly. And we can actually take a moment to repair our armor. He's technically also the first smith that you can meet in the game. You can also see this sword. It's 104 plus 53 now. The blue numbers are just what's going to be once it's upgraded, but you can see 157 total. This weapon's already catching up to the dragon sword, so.
Goodbye then. Keep your head on it. You really helped break the monotony.
No better place to lose your mind, I guess. But there is a number of fascinating items that you can get here. Namely, around this corner right here is this guy and the S-Stock. I know a lot of Dex builds really like the S-Stock. Actually, this scales more with dexterity. Oh, what was I thinking? I was reading this all wrong. The broadsword has better scaling with strength than the longsword. And the stick has S scale with strength. But anyway. The largest of the thrusting swords and can pierce an armored knight in one thrust. The blade is also sharp, allowing slicing as well. We are definitely going to be dying down here unless I want to use this item off of this corpse. Which I'm not going to right now anyway. But we are going to get a source of these rings of sacrifice soon, so... There are people who just, at the beginning of the game, just rush down here. And I think, similar to the Zweihander, they just go down here and just don't even care if they die going for this Firekeeper's soul, if I can actually find the way to it. Yeah, there it goes. I almost made it out of there. I just had to clear those last couple of ghosts, and I would have been home free. And sadly, that message means exactly what it does. The Ring of Sacrifice is just shattered. It's gone. There's no hope of repairing it. Which, you know, fine by me. Can't quite level up. Need 700 souls for that. But still, that's one use of the Ring of Sacrifice, is going down there and getting that Firekeeper soul. Or just not even giving a frick about the souls. Souls becomes a lot more plentiful in the game later on anyway. Reinforce the Estus Flask with that Firekeeper soul, which was down in New Londo, and we've read that the Firekeeper souls are a corporeal the Firekeepers are corporeal manifestations of their bonfires, which Anastasia down there is supposed to be a manifestation of this fire that she keeps lit. Welcome back, Mr. Human.
Oh, miracles?
Alright, belongs to this covenant. Granted, we're not going to be able to buy much more. He does sell the Thurlin Talisman. Medium for casting miracles of the gods. This talisman is only granted to high-ranking Thurlin clerics. Has high miracle adjustment, which, thanks to divine protection, is not dependent on faith. Which actually is the case. It's a very baseline talisman, and has a lot of magic adjust right there.
Come again.
Remastest is the mod itself. InferonoPlus called it, I imagine, Remastest because it's supposed to be a joke on Dark Souls Remastered. But this Remastest also brings in a lot of mods that a lot of people like using with Dark Souls, like Deus Fix is one of them, so that's how you can get, like, that's basically how you get HD in Dark Souls Prepare to Die Edition. The Param remix is in here that he's made. Guns he's made as well. The weapon rebalancing, just a ton of it. There's the buckler right there. Like me a buckler. Granted, I don't make use of the buckler. Very much check the op down mid. Straight sword. We didn't get soft humanity off of those guys, unfortunately. And we have the option of going and fighting the boss of this area, the Bell Tower Gargoyles, which I'm not going to do for a little bit now. I had a moment looking up at the top left-hand corner, and I thought I saw one, like, oh, did I get soft humanity and not even know it? Yeah, that's very much a FromSoft having the... That's very much FromSoft's sense of humor going on, is the goofy ragdolls, and you'll learn that they have a screwed-up sense of humor. FromSoft very much has a screwed-up sense of humor. Boulder leggings. I mean, you can definitely say FromSoft does, because if I can get a ring later, the funny ragdolls will only become funnier. Hollow Warrior Waistcloth. Yeah, so there's having a sense of humor, and then there's just being tone deaf to the room, because there are definitely some jokes that people will take offense to. I keep forgetting to open that gate. Whoops. Ow. I guess also you can kind of see the ring of protection going to work. Because now I have this blue aura around me, so now melee attacks are going to deal a bit less damage. Granted, that guy just hit me for full, I think, still again. The ring of protection here, this ring, its effect used to be way worse. It didn't boost your defenses as dramatically as it does. And you can also see how much that reinforcing the Estus Flasks actually healed me. It healed me considerably. Didn't mean to do that, but okay. Yeah, there. I will say, admittedly, there are some jokes that, at least for a couple of my streams, I omitted because I don't know how the room takes it, but it's definitely like. Not saying it's a bad thing to have a dark sense of humor. I'm just saying you gotta be kind of mindful about who you tell those jokes around. I definitely have friends who, like, some of the jokes I would tell, it would not go over their heads well. What faith do I need for this? 14? Yeah, we'll probably just largely spend time getting up to that faith requirement, because Homeward is just such a good miracle to have on hand. Like, just being able to just dip out of anywhere at any time you want. especially when you're grinding, because it saves the run having to go back to the fire. So we're going to try on this guy how much damage this sword does. 165. Cut down from 220 because of his defenses. Versus great sword, or the long sword here. 165 on that guy. We'll try it on the Rapier Knight a little further on. Don't be healing, that's my shtick. We got the Balder Helm. Kept a mid-rolling with that. Also, the Rusted Iron Ring, I realize I forgot to read it. This Iron Ring was used to shackle the guilty. It is terribly rusted and faintly stained with blood. Those who find this strange ring to their liking will be pleased to find it easier to gain footing on poor ground such as swamps. Very particular wording on swamps there. Very particular wording. Yeah, I have some friends where we joke around a lot, but I have other friends where that would make them uncomfortable, and it's nice to have people to just be lighthearted with instead of dark humor. I mean, yeah, you can only be dark humor for so long anyway. So it's like just being able to just sit down and have clean humor conversations with people is sometimes better. 278. $98 after defenses. $193, so a longsword is putting in its own work. It's just still not better than the Drake sword. I actually remember a couple years ago I actually had a character whose entire personality was just using dragon weapons. So he was primarily, I think, like strength and dexterity. Some strength, but because his stats at that point don't matter as much for his weapon, because no dragon weapon gets scaling. I think there's only one, and even then I don't think it's either very high scaling or just you don't worry about the scaling as much with that weapon. Get dunked on. There's one instance with them where someone was being completely tone deaf and we had to explain over like 10 minutes why just because you aren't swearing doesn't mean people won't be uncomfortable. Yeah, there are definitely some jokes at times where you can make people uncomfortable and just still not get the message. Which can sometimes be unfortunate, but that's just the way it is with some people. It's kind of like this, right? I don't have to be playing this game. I should be playing more Silksong, but just playing Dark Souls for how much I've played it and for all the memories I have associated with it. It's just, that's basically how I cope with things at times. 12 Faith, so we can actually use another miracle. I just don't have it. How long have I been live now that I think about it? 3 hours, 2 minutes, jeez. me moving my mouse off screen so that it's just not this little black dot on the screen 24/7. The other nice thing, I should say this about Dark Souls, like, even just base Dark Souls is honestly very worth the play. I haven't tried Remastered. Remastered is sort of supposed to be the final, like, here's the definitive edition of the game that has, like, all this stuff. And the main point of criticism I've heard about Remastered, and this is actually relevant because of this area right here, or even Undead Burg. Dark Souls, in the beginning, right? People played the game, they beat the game, and then started doing challenges like beating this boss with this piece of equipment, or going through the game only using this weapon. There are people who, I'm not kidding, will beat the game at soul level 1. And then, because they beat the game at soul level 1, they could go to the Undead Burg and just use not even this cracked red eye orb, because they could go and get the full red eye orb from Dark Secret Cath, and just keep invading the lower Undead Burg, invading new players there, and getting all the humanity they want for the safe reason of they just want to. And same thing here in the Undead Parish. They'll just keep invading around here and just keep killing other players, which I don't think is very fun. The reason why this problem is not just present but worse in Dark Souls Remastered is because in Dark Souls Prepare to Die Edition, I would have to be invaded by someone who is within 10% of my level here. So if they were level 20, they could still invade me and try and kill me. Dark Souls Remastered completely removes that limiter. So I could be level 300 and invade whoever I want here, no matter what level they are. And because, likely, being soul level 300, I have better equipment than they do, or my weapons just have stupidly good scaling, like the longsword here, I could just go in and kill them with no recourse. How that can be remedied, and I don't know if Dark Souls Remastered has this, is later Souls games like Bloodborne, Dark Souls 3, and I think even Dark Souls 2, they don't need an internet connection to play, but you have the option of playing offline or playing online. So that's one way to circumvent any of that happening. Not to say that, like, the PvP community is terrible. There are definitely some PvP, like, fights that definitely go either way and are exciting to watch. But there are some freaking people in Dark Souls who just, they aren't good people, I don't think, by any stretch of the imagination. And plus, Dark Souls, you don't have to play online for any particular covenant. So, like, the Sunlight Medal I got here, if I can find it. This is for the Warriors of Sunlight Covenant, and I would turn this in to get experience and eventually a rank in that covenant. And a rank rewards either a weapon or some sort of special magic that you get at that rank. Almost every covenant item in Dark Souls 1, I don't know about Dark Souls 2 or Dark Souls 3, but every covenant rank item can be farmed for. Even these medals that I have here, I can farm for those. Granted, in one of the later areas of the game, there's one enemy that randomly drops those, but every covenant item can be farmed. So if you're willing to just spend the time to get that item that way, you could just play this entire game offline. Granted, it does lock you off from co-op, and if you have friends to play with, then yeah, I could see that being a problem. As the black separation crystal here says, beware of fickle use of this item if you intend to nurture relations. Which, I definitely don't plan on nurturing relations. I'm playing with mostly NPCs. but that's more so because Dark Souls Remastered is the only version of Dark Souls 1 you'll be able to get on Steam. You can try and find it on actually, maybe do your own research at that point. Like, I imagine there is some site that still sells a key for Dark Souls Prepare to Die Edition. That's just my preference. Dark Souls Remastered would definitely be the path of least resistance. If you just want to play Dark Souls 1. And I do highly recommend it. It's just, if you like Hollow Knight, then already get prepared with the idea of dying a lot. I will say I do definitely prefer this game to a lot of shooters. You son of a gun. Got me in the base of my neck. Oh, also I can show this now that I think about it, and I'm definitely going to have to be careful with going up here. This tower that I intentionally ran past, I didn't go up here, weakness stabbing in the back, that is very fair, is because of this guy. And this guy is actually different from the one that we saw in the Berg, because you can actually see he is wielding a greatsword. I really like the Black Knight weapons, and if I can get all of them this playthrough, I will be very happy. And he actually heard me, so I'm going to have to start really running. But there's a reason why I'm not killing them, but the only modding I really do is Minecraft modding for Java, but I never release any. I've never made my own mods neither, but I'm one of those weirdos who only really plays... I should say this. I do play Minecraft every now and then. I think a majority of the Minecraft stuff I've done has been on a mod pack that you can get on CurseForge called Sky Factory 4. And I personally really like that mod pack. I want to try and get more into it and try more stuff that you can do with it. But I'm one of those people that I don't play Minecraft unless I'm playing a mod. Because honestly, base Minecraft is honestly pretty boring. And that's just kind of how it is with some games, is that you play a game so much just playing mods that... Ow. That you don't really like playing that game vanilla. Or sometimes you play that game vanilla and it's like, oh, I feel so naked here right now. Parry that, son of a gun. Or, sorry, I should fix that. Parry this, casual. I also just realized going through this area this way is actually very interesting, because if you just go through here, you don't see that guy, but you look to the right and you see this guy and start fighting him, and then the Balder Knight starts running up to you. Coolest things I've made are factory/fantasy things. They're fun to make and fun to play. That's good. I'm definitely more on the fantasy side of, like, Minecraft mods. Like, I play Hexit quite a bit. Granted, I never really beat the game or beat any boss in that game. Because I just keep making the blacksmith or the tinker's forge and just keep making my weapons and don't really do anything else. Yep, there it is, weapon at risk. So this thing needs repair again. coolest thing I've made was the star fragment system that would spawn a star fragment items around you based on what achievements you got, but only when you're sleeping and able to see the sky. I found it brought more incentive to do achievements and added a reason to risk sleeping outside. There are definitely good mods that do incentivize certain things that you wouldn't normally do. And then, honestly, I don't have much of an opinion on mods that do, like, other stuff, like, just stupid stuff. Do we still have Souls level? Ah, tantalizingly not. We'll probably do one more run of the parish and then I'll sign off. I'll probably keep grinding in my off time because this is just... This game is honestly just... When I pick up Dark Souls, you could probably ask a buddy of mine. I don't put it down and I don't stop thinking about it because I just love this game so much. And it's definitely a breath of fresh air to just play a game when you don't have any trainers or you don't cheat running. Honestly, at times, like, making something stupid and just trying it out and see what sticks is not a bad way of modding, I don't think. Because, like, yeah, you might have made something stupid, but you might have also made something goated. Parry this, casual. I didn't think I was close enough to that other guy. What I would give for my grass crest shield right now. The main star fragment system was to get more effective weapons and machines. I've made systems where you could equip items for effects so you could combine them easily. So you could kind of build your way to fit a specific niche that you're looking for or what have you. Son of a gun. Ow. Jeez, that stab could have killed me. Actually, I never thought about... I wonder if... Probably not. Yeah, let's go up and see. I'm curious if you can actually see that Black Knight. How much does heal me? A decent bit. I enjoy games that supply many different playstyles, so a lot of my mods follow those same things. Dark Souls would certainly be one of those. It's not missing that much durability. Dark Souls is definitely kind of that way of thinking, because there's just a ton of different weapons. Like, even in this 3-hour play session, I've gotten so many different weapons. Just ignore the guns, because the base game obviously won't have that, but every weapon kind of has... Almost every weapon has a different moveset, or has a different sort of niche to it. Kind of like the dragon weapons. They have... Every dragon weapon has some sort of unique ability to it that others don't really have. It's like this dragon sword basically swings and attacks around like the long sword. The niche it has is the two-handed R2. The second coolest system I had was a scarab item, where based on what item you placed in it, it would show different invisible structures, like emeralds showed crypts, diamonds showed towers, etc. That would be honestly quite interesting. Just this idea of a scarab you carry around that literally lets you see this stuff. The invisible structures weren't interactable without the scarab, so you could build through them and just get rid of it without knowing, which I thought was pretty neat. Huh. That Black Knight must not be there. So the game probably despawns him. Guess just to save on resources. Even now I'm trying to like think about like, what do I want to do for this character? And honestly, probably just doing what I do best, which is become a wielder of all and master of none. I do like trying to play the jack of all trades sort of character, because I like being able to use everything. At 1 point, so... Yeah. Like I said, I'll probably keep grinding off camera, but Dark Souls will probably just be a thing that I do every now and then, like, probably in lieu of Silk Song, so... Actually, we can go talk to Andre real quick and buy something of his. Hey, bro.
Well, hello. You need...
He doesn't have an ember still. We can reinforce the longsword a bit more. And we're going to go ahead and do that. So I need 2 more Titanite shards. But now we can actually buy probably the weaponsmith box. And we can actually buy the war pick. Hammer with a large beak-shaped pommel. Originally a pickaxe redesigned for battle, the simple but deadly weapon hits heavily with thrust damage, such that it easily cracks metal armor.
Don't get yourself...
Oh, and also I realized, I mentioned this but forgot to say, the spear. Yeet! Oh. Yeet! You can actually yeet the spear, and it's actually kind of funny. But yeah, no, this was... I'll probably play this again once I do more grinding off camera, but this is the Dark Souls Remastest mod. InferonoPlus, like I said, is linked in the description, along with Leon, who did the art for my little fella in the lower right-hand corner. Otherwise, I have been Okami, and I will see you... I will stream again whenever I feel like it, I guess, at this point. We'll see. But for now, have a good rest of your day. The one thing I have been able to figure out are procedural structures. I know Minecraft has a way, but it's fairly limited and very complicated. I need different software from what I have. It's all about finding those fixes, but for now, best of luck with your fan game. I hope it turns out exactly as you wanted. For now, I am taking off. See ya! Bye!